we have a list of pardons and commutations relating to events that occurred on January 6, 2021.
Okay, and how many people is this?
I think this order will apply to approximately 1,500 people.
So this is January 6th, and these are the hostages? Approximately 1,500 for a pardon?
Yes.
Full pardon?
Full pardon or commutation?
Full pardon. We have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research.
Okay.
Nice to see you again.
And you, sir.
So this is a big one. Anything you want to explain about this? We hope they get them. We hope they come out tonight, frankly. We're expecting it. Approximately 1,500 people. Six commutations.
So we have to talk about Trump and his pardon of the J6ers because, of course, mainstream media is back with their double standard and their Trump derangement. In this first clip that we're going to check out, it is Markwayne Mullin. I believe he's a House member, Markwayne Mullin, or is this? No, he's a senator. He's a senator. Okay, so Markwayne Mullin. Sometimes I get all these folks mixed up sometimes, you know, senators and people in the House. I don't remember like who's on which in which body sometimes. But anyway, Markwayne Mullin and Aaron Burnett from CNN, and he absolutely owns her in this in this interview because of course she tries to go after him and Trump with this J6 stuff, and he proves her hypocrisy or calls out her hypocrisy live on air, and it's absolutely amazing. Stick around because I have another clip as well that I want to show you guys between Jim Acosta and Tim Burchett, who is somebody else that I really, really like in the House. But anyway, with that being said, let's dive in.
And I want to go out front now to the Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin from Oklahoma. He jumped into action on January 6th to stop the violent mob at the Capitol. You see him here barricading the doors to the House chamber with a desk from the House floor. So, Senator Mullin, you were there and you know what happened that day. Do you wish President Trump would have only pardoned nonviolent offenders? Obviously, that was clear that he was going to do that instead of the blanket pardon he issued.
Well, I think what happened is after President Biden did the preemptive pardon on his family members and on the Gen 6 committee, I think it all changed. And this is President Trump's prerogative. He's the President of the United States now, and the American people, November 5th, chose to move on past January 6th. It was a regretful day. It should have never taken place. There was no question it was a riot. I saw it with my own eyes. But President Trump is the President of the United States, and things changed. Even President Biden, remember, 4 years ago said that a preemptive pardon shows guilt, but yet he went ahead and did that. And as I said, I think everything changed after President Biden did what he did 15 minutes before he left office.
So obviously, I'm not going to equate.
Watch what she does. She tries to excuse what Biden did and him pardoning some very, very terrible people, which I believe Markwayne Mullin is going to get into. Some people that did some very, very horrible things. She tries to completely skip over that and go right back to the J6 because, of course, if Democrats or Joe Biden do it, it's fine. But if Trump does something that's even remotely similar, it's a major, major issue, and it has to be put on front page news at every single day, every single hour of the day, right? But check it out.
Wait, one versus the other. I do just want to point out the point, Senator, as you and I know, anyone watching knows, there's no way that they got 700 pardons ready in those few hours, right? Those were ready to go. No, it wasn't after President Biden made the decision about his family and the January 6th committee. I
believe it was 42 executive orders with 200 actions on them. And there was a change, but it doesn't take too long to put a full and complete pardon on January 6th. It simply changes a piece of paper. And I get people are upset at those that provided violence, and especially to our officers, who many are my friends. Yep. But at the same time, I'm not saying it's fair, but at the same time, President Biden changed all this. Remember the 37 murderers that he commuted their sentences? Remember two of them, one that he pardoned, the one that he pardoned killed 2 FBI agents. Another one literally beat an officer to death with a hammer. And another one literally tied up a woman who had accused him of rape, tied her up in duct tape, put a center block around her, and threw her over a bridge live.
Come on now. What's worse? Some people running into a building, or what you just heard right there? Let's be real. And this is the debate that I get into, and I won't talk long because this is going to be a longer video. But this is the debate that I get into when people bring up the J6. Oh my goodness, Trump tried to overthrow. So you mean to tell me that in order to overthrow the U.S. government, all you have to do is run into a building? Make that make sense. Because listen, if all you have to do to overthrow the U.S., our government, American government, if all you have to do is run into a building, then let me tell you something. We got some major issues in this country, because if all Russia or China has to do is come to America and run into a building, we're fucked. Yes, it's over with. But it's a load of crap. It's a load of crap. You can't tell me that by running into a building, you automatically take over the government when we have bombs the size of buses. It's just not happening. Like, let them all run into the building. We'll drop one of those bombs that's the size of a bus right onto that building. It'll be completely flattened. It'll be gone. There will be nothing there but a crater. So what are we talking about here? What are we talking? Like, this talk is absolutely ridiculous, but it's what people on the left do, man. It's what they do.
And so you remember that the violence that he pardoned, and I'm just saying that you got to compare both of them, Aaron. If you're going to cover the story, cover both stories, because neither one of them is great.
Senator, there two things though. First, I want to talk about first of all, saying somebody else jumped up.
Look, she's stuttering, and did you notice she was looking down the whole time when he was saying all that? Probably listening to an earpiece of somebody telling her what to say next, or trying to check her notes, of trying to cover up, right? Because he's calling her out. He was calling her out just a second ago.
Off a bridge, so I'm going to jump off the bridge too. First of all, saying somebody else jumped off a bridge, so I'm going to jump off the bridge too, is not an excuse that any of us would generally find acceptable. So just putting aside Biden did this, so Trump did this, I want to talk about your feelings.
That's not the point, Aaron. That's not the point. The point is, y'all want to try to say something when Republicans do something, but you don't say anything when a Democrat does it. Now, if you called out Joe Biden and the Democrats for pardoning these terrible people who did some very horrible things, some of which you heard from Markwayne Mullin just a second ago, if CNN and Aaron Burnett, if y'all called them out, then I would have nothing to say. I would have nothing to say. I wouldn't say a single thing. I wouldn't even be making this video. But the fact is, you don't. You're hypocrites. You're hypocrites.
About it. You talk about these as officers, you were there. You say it's a riot. You were yelling in rioters' faces. You were blockading a door as they were attacking the Capitol. And you've talked about what you saw, right? You've talked about what you saw, that you walked in a room and saw people that had officers that had broken limbs, noses broken. You talked about it yourself.
You see what she's trying to do there? And I'm gonna end that clip there because, like I said, we have another clip to get to. But you see what she was trying to do? Officers with broken limbs and noses, but she had nothing to say when Markwayne Mullin was talking about a woman being thrown in a river with cement shoes alive. She had nothing to say when he talked about the two FBI agents being pine boxed. She had nothing to say. Nothing to say. Well, her retort was, well, she used the old saying that, a lot of our parents use, well, if this person jumps off a bridge, are you going to jump off the bridge too? Like, come on now. Let's not equate a bloody nose to somebody being cement shoed. Like, come on now. Tying cinder blocks to somebody and throwing them into a body of water? Really? You're comparing that to a broken nose? Even a broken arm? That's what you're comparing that to? Really? agents being pine boxed to some broken limbs, maybe a bloody nose. That's what you're comparing that to? Like, let's be real here. Let's be real. Like, come on now. Let's get into this Tim Burchett clip with Jim Acosta, who, hey, listen, I love Tim Burchett, and I've talked about this before. Tim Burchett is one of my favorite guys in Congress. He's one person that is extremely transparent, a Republican that is extremely, extremely transparent. I think all people in Congress should do what he does. And what he does is, if you guys haven't seen it or you guys don't follow him, after any major legislation is signed, or even minor stuff, really, at the end of the day, when he's leaving the building, he goes live or makes a video, talking about what happened, what was going on, how it went, whether it went well, whether it went bad, that kind of stuff, kind of explaining things, just like a quick 60-second to 3-minute video of him walking out of the building, making a quick video, and he uploads that pretty regularly. So I love his transparency. And he also talks about how he voted on it and why, he voted the way that he voted. So I absolutely love a guy like Tim Burchett, even though he received a little bit of backlash more recently because he was going against Trump with this whole bill that it went from 1,500 pages down to like 115 pages or 116 pages, and he was like, no, I'm still not voting for that. But Trump was like, hey, no, we need Republicans to sign it, or we need Republicans to vote yes on it. And Tim Burchett was one of the Republicans that still was saying no. And actually, I agreed with him. If I was in the House, I would have voted no. And if people would have hated me for it, then just would have hated me for it. But that's just something that I still did not agree with. 115, 116 pages is still absolutely ridiculous to me. Just because we decreased it from 1,500 pages doesn't mean I should be happy about 116 pages. Like, no. I would be happy with like 5 pages, right? I would have been happy with 5, but that's just me. And actually, I made a video on that, and like all of you agreed. Like, nah, Rich, hey, we agree with you. So that was good to see. But anyway, let's get into this clip with Jim Acosta and Tim Burchett talking about J6. Check it out.
Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee. Congressman, thanks so much for being here. Axios is reporting that Trump's January 6 pardons were a last-minute decision. His team was reportedly wrestling with how to handle them. But according to one advisor, Trump said, quote, F it, release them all. Your response?
Well, Jim, as always, it's good to be on here for my weekly beating from you all at CNN, and I appreciate you, brother. And I was thinking about you this morning, actually, because I remember Rush Limbaugh, somebody called in when Bill Clinton was elected president, and they said, oh, I bet you're depressed. And he said, depressed? Heck no, I got 4 years of material. Just think, you've got 4 years of material at least right now.
Well, I'm not so much worried about material, Congressman, as I am about the president releasing violent offenders who attacked the Capitol, where you're standing right now on January 6th, people who were convicted of seditious conspiracy. I spoke with Officer Harry Dunn at the top of the program. I spoke with the ex-wife of Stuart Rhodes, Tasha Adams. They are both worried about their safety. Do you defend what Donald Trump did, releasing these people from prison, pardoning them, commuting their sentences? Yes or no?
I was the last person to leave the Capitol grounds, the floor of the Capitol, last member of Congress on January 6th when all this went down. I was offended as anybody. If they crossed those barriers, they were breaking the law. But you got to realize, too, they are charged under federal law. Many of them never even saw their day in court and were sitting in a jail cell. So the whole thing is
Congressman,
bad news. But you also,
Congressman, I asked you a yes or no question. Do you agree with President Trump's decision to pardon these violent people and releasing them from jail?
If they were truly violent, no. But do I know that they were? I don't know that.
What do you mean you don't know that? We're showing the footage on the air right now. Congressman, you were there that day. There are offenders on January 6th who violently beat police officers. There are offenders who are convicted.
What about the Summer of Love protesters that violently firebombed places and burned buildings to the ground and fought with officers? What about those people? What about the people that firebombed the police station that was being put together in, what was that? Where was that? I believe that was Atlanta. I believe that was in Georgia. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a police station or a police building that was firebombed by some protesters on the left. And I believe it was in Georgia. Correct me if I'm wrong. What about the people who barricaded themselves in, where was that? Seattle, I believe. I forgot what they called it. Some kind of zone or whatever. They basically took over part of the city. What about those people? Huh? Of course, they're all Democrats, so it's different. It's different.
Convicted of seditious conspiracy. That is the truth.
This is a political world, Jim, and I don't remember you all on CNN condemning Joe Biden for commuting the sentences of murderers and child molesters, which he did, and you all
Congressman, I'm not
refused-
asking
you
about
refused-
that. Congressman,
Well,
we talked
you
about Joe
never
Biden's
do.
pardons.
You never do,
Congressman,
Jim.
we
You
did
never
talk
do.
about it. We talked about Joe Biden's
Oh,
pardons.
Jim, you did not. You all read your report from the Democrat National Committee, as you always do,
that
and
is
you attack
absolutely
Americans.
false.
Bingo! Shout out to Tim Burchett, man, because obviously that's something that we all know, and it's something that we all assume, and something that we feel like we definitely know based on the unequal coverage between both parties, and that really got exposed recently with Kamala running. We saw them, absolutely make it seem and sound as if Kamala was the greatest thing ever, and Trump was the devil himself. Even though, like you had Joy Reid, for example, and I always bring up this because it blew my mind that she said on national television. I mean, it shouldn't have, but it still blew my mind that she decided it was a great idea to sit on national television and lie and say that Kamala ran a flawless campaign. What about her campaign was flawless? The fact that she burned through $2 billion in 3 months? What about her campaign was flawless? The fact that she was paying celebrities to come up and endorse her? What about that was flawless? What about it was flawless? The fact that she was bussing people in to her rallies? Like, what about that campaign was flawless? Like, that just... They say some of the most ridiculous stuff. So I'm so happy that Tim Burchett called them out live on air. They get their commands from the DNC. Well, allegedly, right? Allegedly. Also, I have heard some stories about, some of these news organizations putting together like a committee of people to just go after Trump with their news coverage. Like all they did allegedly was find bad press on Trump and try to run as much of it as possible. And they completely failed at it, as speaking on that. And wasn't it CNN that recently got sued and their evaluation came out, and the fact that it's been dropping every single year after year, by, I believe, like $200 million every single year? Yeah. So carry on, Jim Acosta. Carry on.
Congressman, are you going to respond and say whether or not it is right to let these people out of jail?
I don't know if it is or not. I'm not a lawyer, but I'll tell you what isn't right.
You're a congressman. You're a member of Congress. You're an elected official. Take a stand.
They were not given due process. I told you if they crossed the line, they were trespassers. Should they rot in jail for the rest of their lives in a federal penitentiary
not trespassing,
and never be charged?
Beating police officer, tasing police officers.
Hold on. Also, I forgot about this. What about the illegals that were beating police officers in New York? And Democrats, like you, Jim Acosta, let them back out on the streets. And those same illegals were flipping off the camera as they walked out. Do you think those illegals should be locked up for life? Because they were beating officers, and they are illegal, so they already broke the law. Then they broke the law again by beating some cops, and then laughed after they were freed by Democrats. Where is the outrage for that, Jim Acosta? CNN. Where's the outrage? I'm just saying, like, this stuff is ridiculous.
Conspiracy.
What you're forgetting to say is the ones that he didn't release. Why did he not release those? There are several that he did. This blanket thing you're all talking about is not a blanket It's not a blanket pardon. There were several that he didn't for those very same reasons. Why are you not focusing on them?
Congressman, we're talking
I
about
don't know
the leader of the Oath Keepers, the leader of the Proud Boys. They should be released from prison.
Look, he keeps skipping over great points that Tim Burchett is making. Tim Burchett was just like, hey, Trump didn't pardon every single person. There's still some people locked up in there. And it's for that reason that you're describing. They were truly, truly violent individuals. They did some very, very horrible things. And Trump did not pardon those people. So why aren't you talking about them? And of course, Jim Acosta just completely skips over that. Just completely glazes over that. When Tim Burchett mentioned the fact that Joe Biden pardoned some very violent people, he completely glazed over that. Just completely skipped over that, of course. We gotta still go after Trump. We gotta get Trump. Goodness gracious.
What about the leader of the FBI? What about the FBI agents that were on the grounds, that were in that mess,
Congressman,
that were
the
helping
leader of the
orchestrate
FBI
that?
was not rioting at the Capitol that day and beating up police officers. Whatever happened to Back the Blue? I want to show this. The Fraternal Order of Police, another police organization out there, the International Organization of Police Chiefs. We can show that up on screen. That would be great. They both say that what President Trump did is wrong. They're deeply discouraged by these pardons. And I want to ask you,
Jim, if they broke the law,
whatever
they ought to be in jail. If they broke the law, they ought to be in jail.
Okay,
you spring this stuff on me. I don't know. I haven't seen the tapes of these individuals of what they
happened to
did.
Back the Blue? What happened to backing police officers? Your party has said time and again, we back the blue. It sounds like you let down the blue. You're betraying the blue.
Jim, why don't you just give an editorial and not let me come on? Look, what happened in the last 4 years with police? What happened with all the riots that took place all across the country? Police officers were murdered. Courthouses were burned. Over 22 police cars were burned. Yet no one went to jail for that. Where's your crocodile tears for that? No,
Congressman,
you're not addressing
engaging in
the facts.
You're engaging
No.
in a game of whataboutism. People were
What about
obviously
what you all do at
prosecuted after
CNN
those
every
riots.
day?
Every day. What are you
all
talking
you've
about
done
what
is
we're doing at CNN? We didn't storm
every
the
day.
Capitol. These people did. And President Trump let them out of jail. Why not just say, you were wrong, Mr. President? Say it. Why can't you say it?
The same reason why you can't say it. How about that? That's what I would say. The same reason why you can't say it. The same reason why you won't sit up here on national television and go after Joe Biden and Democrats for letting out violent criminals like they did in New York. That same reason why. The same reason why you won't go after Joe Biden for pardoning violent criminals. Some of which, literally killed agents, pine boxed them, threw a woman in a body of water with cement shoes. But no, you won't talk about that. So that's the same reason why. That's the same reason why. So when you want to run a segment, I mean an actual segment, not a little 30-second little clip or a little sound bite. I mean a full segment on the Democrat hypocrisy and Democrats allowing violent criminals to walk out of these jails and walk out of these prisons all day, every day. When you want to do that, then we can talk. Come holla at me. But until then, I ain't got shit to say. Simple. It's simple. This stuff is stupid. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. These folks, and I love how Jim Acosta, you know what's funny about this? Y'all, did y'all notice anything? Hold on, let me take myself off the screen. You notice what's in that bottom right corner? That red symbol? CNN. Y'all see that? Y'all know what's in common with both of these? You see that one? Gosh darn it. No wonder why their evaluation continues to drop every single year. This BS has come from the same. Now, obviously, there are other networks that do the same thing, but it's hilarious that both of these folks from the same network are doing the exact same thing. Exact same thing. With Mark Wayne Mullin, Aaron Burnett did the same thing that Jim Acosta was trying to do with Tim Burchett. Point the finger at Republicans and completely glaze over what Democrats have done. Completely glaze over it. It didn't even happen. It doesn't exist. Ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. But hey, if you've watched to this point, I appreciate you. thank you. Honestly, watching videos to the very end helps out with the algorithm. It helps these videos get pushed out to more and more people. Make sure you hit that like button. I know it's a small gesture, but it tremendously helps. And of course, let me know your thoughts, because obviously that helps too. Engaging helps with the algorithm. So do all of those. Greatly appreciate it. And I want to hear your thoughts on this. Of course, I always read through the comment section. So stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.